I'm Chris Giles, the Technical Director of Havilah Resources, and today I'd like to briefly describe for you the new partnership transaction that we've done with Hillgrove Resources on our Mutooroo Copper Cobalt Project. Just to remind you, Mutooroo is located about 40 minutes drive southwest of Broken Hill, just over the South Australian-New South Wales border in South Australia. It contains a JORC resource of almost 200,000 tonnes of copper plus significant cobalt and gold, and it's quite a high copper grade of 1.5% in the JORC resource plus cobalt at a grade of 0.16%. And the deposit is amenable to both conceptual open pit and underground mining. So I'll briefly run through the partnership concept because it does seem a bit strange for two operations which are about 500 kilometres apart coming together. And the concept is to rail the massive sulphide ore from Mutooroo down the Transcontinental Railway line and then down through Adelaide to the Kanmantoo copper mine. Now this is advantage because Mutooroo, as I said, lies about 16 kilometres south of the main Transcontinental Railway line, and the Adelaide-Melbourne Railway line actually runs through the Kanmantoo mining property. Now it so happens the other ingredient to the equation is that the Kanmantoo copper mine has quite a large processing plant, and it has spare capacity to treat sulphide ore. So if the ore is transported down the railway line, the concept would be to process the sulphide ore using the spare capacity at the Kanmantoo processing plant. And this would eliminate the need to build a new standalone plant at Mutooroo. Now, the Kanmantoo operate their processing plant very efficiently and probably at a far lower cost than we could possibly do at Mutooroo. So some of the cost of transporting the sulphide ore down to Kanmantoo could even be offset by the greater processing efficiencies and shipping efficiencies out of Adelaide, which the Kanmantoo copper mine operators presently have. So the end result is that this partnership potentially enables the early development of Mutooroo, because we don't have to build a plant and because the permitting will be considerably simpler, which enables a quicker project development option, which would be managed by Hillgrove, who are obviously proven copper mining and copper processing operators right here in South Australia. And there's certainly significant benefits to be realised by utilising the fully permitted existing Kanmantoo processing facility, and that in turn largely eliminates the greenfield development risk which we'd have if we developed an operation on our own here at Mutooroo. And it takes advantage of Hillgrove's operational team, their logistical network and permitting experience, all of which further potentially de-risks the Mutooroo project development. All the while, Havilah retains substantial project upside via its shareholding in Hillgrove and its retained 20% project interest. And a little bit about Hillgrove Resources themselves. They're very successful operators of the Kanmantoo copper mine, which is located in the Adelaide Hills, about 55 kilometres from Adelaide. It was formerly an open pit operation, but now it's fully underground, which is accessed by declines. Their current production is approximately 12,000 tonne per annum of copper that is shipped out of Port Adelaide as a copper concentrate. Their processing capacity is 3 to 3.6 million tonnes. This is their processing plant here. It's currently running at about half capacity, so the Mutooroo ore would add substantially to the processing throughput. And for some time they've been seeking additional sources of sulphide ore to boost production, and they feel that Mutooroo may well, subject to the feasibility study, fit that bill. And just off to the side here, just outside the photograph, that's where the Melbourne-Adelaide Railway line runs through. So it's very, very close to the operation. And of course, as you can see, they have a setup here, a proven mine operating capability with a lot of expertise. Turning now to the Havilah Hillgrove transaction, we have signed a farming agreement a couple of weeks ago, and that gives Hillgrove the right to earn 80% of the Mutooroo Copper Project, and that includes the Mutooroo resource, plus the surrounding EL 6592, which has an area of about 23 square kilometres. Now that comprised an upfront consideration of $5 million, which was satisfied by the issue of just over 116 million Hillgrove shares that was set at a VWAP price of 4.3 cents. Attaching to each of those Hillgrove shares is an option exercisable at 20% above the share issue price, which works out at 5.2 cents. Half of the Hillgrove shares held by Havilah are subject to a 6-month escrow, and the other half a 12-month voluntary escrow. Over the next 2 years, Hillgrove plans to invest up to $10 million, which includes a commitment to at least 5,000 metres of drilling for resource definition. And they plan to spend that in 2 phases. Phase 1, approximately $2 million, will be focused on the rail logistics and economics, and also the metallurgical test work to make sure that the Mutooroo sulphide ore would be compatible with their processing plant at Kanmantoo. And subject to that being positive, then phase 2, the balance of the PFS expenditure would be on drilling, permitting and other things. So Hillgrove are able to earn an 80% in Mutooroo upon the final investment decision, and that's entirely at Hillgrove's election. And if they do go ahead, then it would involve the payment of stage 2 consideration of $35 million, comprised of cash between 30 to 70%, and that's at Hillgrove's election, with a balance in Hillgrove fully paid ordinary shares. And that's set at the same VWAP, in other words 4.3 cents, as the initial share consideration. So payment of the stage 2 consideration will result in the transfer of an 80% interest in Mutooroo, subject to satisfaction of various conditions which are normal for these type of transactions. We propose to enter into a tolling and marketing agreement for the processing of the Mutooroo ore at Hillgrove's Kanmantoo processing facility. It's currently in draft form, but will be finalised once the PFS is completed. And Havilah's 20% interest will be free carried to the financial investment decision phase, and thereafter Hillgrove will have responsibility for arranging project financing. And of course the question for Havilah shareholders is how do we benefit? And basically, well, there has been an immediate return, which has been realised by the $5 million upfront payment in Hillgrove shares, and that is non-refundable regardless of the outcome of Hillgrove's PFS. And Hillgrove will fund a comprehensive new PFS that should add significant value to Mutooroo. And Havilah will share in this value uplift via its 20% free carried retained interest in Mutooroo, and also its ongoing shareholding in Hillgrove Resources itself. An additional return will be realised by the second stage 2 $35 million payment, and Havilah will continue to explore its 100% owned surrounding exploration licences, which are not included in this deal, but Havilah is obliged to offer Hillgrove the first right to partner on any future developments on its surrounding exploration licences. The other major benefit, of course, is that Hillgrove is a proven copper mine operator with a competent and experienced management team that will certainly be able to build and operate the Mutooroo copper mine. and also process the ore. And the transaction satisfies Havilah's 3 long-term objectives, which is to sell down equity in its projects, in this case Mutooroo, to provide a return to shareholders, to fund completion of the PFS so that the full potential of Mutooroo can be realised, and thirdly, to retain a meaningful stake in Mutooroo that allows us to participate in any future upside that's generated. As usual, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me, and please be sure to check our website and other details as here. Until next time, all the best.